All right, shalom, shalom. It's Brother Yatazadah, Kiro Israel. Before I get started, I'd like to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rekah Kodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Today we're going to go into the book of Obadiah. So there's only one chapter, so this will be very brief. So Lord willing, you're edified. Giving all honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rekah Kodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. So let's get right into it. Let's look at the header for this chapter, which the header is Edom will be humbled. The second half is the day of the Lord and the future, right? So to start at verse 1, which reads, the vision of Obadiah, thus saith the Lord Yahweh unto Edom, there is heard a report from the Lord, and a messenger upon the nations is sent out, which is risen unto him. So it reads, Chazawan Obadiah Ka Amar Adanya Yahweh La Adawam Shemaiah Shemai Nawa Ma'ath Yahweh Watazayar Bagawayim Shalach Kwamwa. Right? Now the messenger is what? The servants of the Lord, right? Which are prophesying these latter days, right? The remnant returning, the Most High casting that veil off upon America, Babylon the Great, right? The visions being expounded on, right? And the truth being made manifest, right? And that's through the starting with our elders and apostles of Great Millstone, right? Because if you go into the Greek, that word apostle means sent out, right? Which in the Hebrew would be shaliach, right? Because shalach, it just means to send out. Shaliach would mean apostle, right? Now, you know, the head apostle per se would be Yahushai, right? Because he spoke of the signs of the end, right? And the end is being made manifest, right, via the scriptures, via biblical prophecy coming to life, right? So it says, and let us rise upon her unto battle, right? Wana kwama alya la malachama, right? Because unto us it's a spiritual battle, but you also have, right, the Lord stirring up the nations, right? Gog and Magog, right? Like I say all the time at camp, right? Ezekiel chapter 38, Russia, China, Iran, right? So that's what it's talking about. The nations rising up, specifically, right? You have, see if I can get that real quick. Gamal Nasser, which is he's an Arab, right? You can look it up. During the Cold War, right? The Suez Crisis. This is when that peaceful relationship that Esau always had with the Ishmaelites, right? Started boiling up, started slowly deteriorating, right? And that's what happened, right, with these particular events, right? You have, right, because for some reason, Esau always targeted, for example, particular Middle East countries, right? Because he knows about ancient history. He knows about these particular lands, right? Even even particular Salakia, particular Hamitic lands and lands in the Middle East. The ancient he knows about all the ancient tribes, peoples, nations, right? The original he knows their real name, right? He knows how they operate, right? He knows that there's a particular region, right, which is the uh, which he targets the most. Places like Afghanistan, Iraq, right? These are ancient lands where you had ancient uh, men come from, right? Abraham, right? The land of the Chaldeans, Babylon, right? Uh, so he has a sort of hatred for those that not just the children of Israel, but you got to remember Jacob's people uh, were in that land and they still are today, right? Which is of the same lineage as Shem, right? Shem is the son of Noah, right? Shem out of Shem came the Arabs came uh, the five sons of Shem, right? The chosen seed came through Arphaxad, right? Ibar. So you have right. Esau has a particular disdain towards these parts of the earth, right? Although he did take wives of the Ishmaelites in times past, right? These, like I said, these relationships over time started to deteriorate, right? Because scriptures say that what he is like hell and cannot be satisfied, right? But anyways, that's what it's talking about. You can look it up. I'm not going to go into all that, but that started right with that particular individual, and this is when Satan started being right. There started being more of a divide. Satan divided against Satan, like scriptures say, right? So Obadiah 1 and 2, it says, it says, "Behold, small I will make thee in the nations. Despised thou shalt be exceedingly." Right? Hana Quatan Nathath Yaka Bagawayim Bazia Atha Ma'ad. Right? Because, like I said, through particular acts that he does, right? Conquests, the many conquests of Esau, right? Left a bad taste in the nation's mouths, right? Obadiah 1 and 3 says, "The presumptuousness of your heart has deceived thee, that dwellest in the regions of the rock," right? Which reads, "Sadwan labka ha shaya'aka shakanya bahagya salai." Let's look at those two words, hagya salai, right? Because that word chag, I believe, just means circle or compass, right? So that word is Strong's H2288, hagwa, which it means places of refuge, um, places of concealment, retreat, to take refuge. And that's not correct. It just means like, for example, region, right? Region of the rocks, right? Particular places, right? Um, like in the where Esau's homeland is, right? Petra, right? Which was a made of particular rocks, and Esau came from certain cave dwelling tribes, right? Now, so it says, let's look at other precepts. Jeremiah 49:16. Um, so it says, clefts of the rocks, clefts of the rock, right? But that word hag, it just means compass or region, right? But you could say clefts of the rock, right? Because that word salai doesn't actually mean rock. It means right, cragged, right? Rough, a rough stone, right? Crag, cliff, right? A stone is smooth, right? But which is why it says clefts, cleft here, and then rock. Let's look at that word cleft. Slovakia. That word for cleft is split, divided, cloven, parted. A fissure or split. Let's look up an image of a clefty rock. Right, so it's a rough sort of uneven, right, type of terrain, right? It says um, lofty is your abode, or dwelling, because that's what that word Shabbat means, right? It means to seize, but it also means to dwell, right? When you sit, you read it as Yashab, right? Or Shabbat, right? And that word Ma'rawam means exalted. Rawam means lifted up. The loftiness of your habitation, right? Which verse 3 says, right? The presumptuousness unto your heart has deceived thee that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, and the loftiness of your abode, up and the loftiness of his abode, right? Because that's Esau prides himself in building skyscrapers, right? Pouring concrete everywhere, right? That concrete is it's not good for you, right? It makes your feet hurt, right? You're standing all day at work, right? The earth wasn't made to stand on concrete. You have particular lands that have that are made of rough terrain, but right, the soil is really where you're supposed to be one with the earth, right? There's particular right nutrients in soil, right? That back in the uh, back in the ancient world, right? You had children playing there, and there's particular when you put your feet on the soil on the dirt, right? It has it's your feet is being nourished with particular nutrients, right? You can't do that if you live in a concrete jungle in a city, right? City type situation, right? So it says, the loftiness of his dwelling place, that saith in his heart, who will bring me down to the earth? Ma Rawam Shabbathwa Amar Balabwa Maya Yarad Naya Haratazah. Like it says in Isaiah chapter 14, right? It says he sitteth on the congregation on the let's get that in Isaiah chapter 14. It's Isaiah 14 and Isaiah 14 and 13. For thou said in thy heart, I will ascend into heaven, I will exalt my throne above the stars of God, I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation, which is talking about Jake, right? The tribes, subjugating them, right? Dwindling them greatly in numbers, like you read about in Revelation chapter 12, Revelation chapter 11. Um, in the sides of the north, right, which is that the hub, the capital per se of America, Babylon the Great, right, which is in in the sides of of the continent, right, of North America, right, which is known as the capital, which is known as the Mount of the Congregation as well, right, because that is the center, the hub of his operation, right. So let's go back to Obadiah 1 and 4. So this is what Esau says, right? His presumptuousness, right? He's naturally a mocker, just like these other nations, and Jake likes to follow after that, right? Because Jake is like his sheep, right? That has no actual guidance, right? They just do what other Jakes do and what other nations do, right? It's so easy for Jake to go off without a guide, right? That you constantly have to affirm onto Jake, which is what the scriptures do. It's a positive affirmation, right? It's more than just prophecy, right? It's a book of counsel. It's a book of wisdom, right? It's a book of now. None of this can save us. You can't have the book in your hand and think the Lord is not going to judge you, right? Because we're paying for the iniquity of our forefathers, right? Because we are our forefathers. At the end of the day, your seed and the seed after your seed and the seed after your seed is really your past descendants coming back into the same, not into the same family necessarily, but into the same clan, right? Nation, right? That's how the Lord deals with spirits that He creates. He's not gonna have one spirit of a for example Native American, and then in the next life that spirit is gonna be born into a European, right? This spirit it returns and is rejuvenated in the same posterity, right? So when you talk about your forefathers, right, in a sense, we are our forefathers, right? Reincarnation, regeneration, right? Returning back in the flesh, right? Which is why Jake likes to say particular things like, "Oh, you know your grandfather used to do that," or "You sound just like your grandfather," right? Because it's that spirit returning back, right, into that bloodline, right? Obadiah 1 and 4, which reads, if Although thou be exalted, thou be lofty like the eagle, and although between the stars you place your nest you place, right? Which it reads, I'm Tagabya Kanashar Wa'am Bayan Kawakabiyam Shayam Kwanka. Shayam means to place, Kwan is a nest, right? Or a chamber, right? It's another way to say room, or you can have a cave, a chamber of a cave, right? Which reads that word gabya just means height or to be tall, right? So it says, from there I will bring thee down, saith the Lord. Masham ar Aryad Ka Naam Yahweh, right? Because that's the eagle is found on the currency, is found on the particular logos, right? That eagle is a lofty creature, is a lofty bird of prey, right? Obadiah 1 and 5 says, although or if thieves had entered unto thee, if despoilers by night, as in if they entered onto thee, right? It's not going to say it twice. I'm Ganabium Ba'awa Laka, I'm Shadadya Layala. Says, where thus are you silent? Ayaka Nadam Yatha. Says, if they not had stolen sufficiently, which reads, if they had not stolen sufficiently, right? Hala ya ganabwa dayam, because that word dayam means sufficiently, right? Because you got to keep in mind that, right, like it says later on in the verse, that those that eat thy bread has lifted up a heel against thee. Talking about, right, those that came to America, Babylon the Great, right, and built their nation off of it, off its back. Now they're trading with it. They committed fornication with it, meaning they submitted to its system, right? The currency, the mode of dress, right? Because who has the sword? Esau Edom, right? To destroy, to subjugate, right? It's either the sword or, right, accept this democracy, right? Which what Esau does, he goes and he installs puppet leaders, right? Creates more division within these kingdoms, right? But the scriptures say there's no end unto the people, right? So eventually, right, these other nations smarted up, or they played their part. They kept silent, which is that word dama, means to be silent, right? To be silent, to be quiet, to be rest, to be at ease, right? But this is now Esau's the one being silent, right? Through his secret counsels, through his um, right, through his agendas and right, like it says in the next verse, How were the things of Esau searched out? You can't search them out, right? There's certain things that he puts out there, like the history of how he enslaved Jake, how he right, um, how he did particular nations during in the times of warfare, right? But you can't search out his counsels because these are things that he understood and he has prepared for a very very long time, right? Since right Renaissance, right? Even before that, you always had that, right? Uh, spiritual demon Satan kind of working with him, right? Get these left hand spirits counseling him, right? Because these left hand spirits, what they do is they deceive people. They tell you what you want to hear, right? Which is what the Lord is doing on the left hand side. You have the heathen, right? They're calling on their left hand spirits and they're being deceived, right? Because they're all being deceived in one way or another. Because scriptures say the deceived and the deceiver are his, right? So this is why you have, right, things like uh, the Rothschild bankers in control. You have the Illuminati, 1776. Even back then, they knew this day would come, right? That the remnant will wake up, right? Because there's particular things that are revealed to Esau Edom, right? So he let these nations in. He let them kind of build themselves up, right? Because he knows that the Lord is with him on the left hand side, right? And he's gonna establish that charagma. You see it now, right? You see the this controlled demolition that you see happening, right? You're gonna see more stores closing. You're gonna see, right, like Yahushua said, I saw Satan as lightning falling from heaven. That's talking about him. He saw the downfall of this rulership, of this last rulership, right before the Most High establishes the kingdom of heaven. Right, first you got to have the charagma, the third woe, all these things come to pass, right? So it says, if grape gatherers have entered unto thee, will they not leave some uh, some of the gleaning, right, or some of the remainder, right? Because that word alal means to revisit, to take back up, to drink back up, right, to glean. Which it says, I'm Batazarium Ba'awa Laka Hala Yashayarwa Ilath, which is that word Batazar just means to bind. Binders or grape gatherers, right? And this is part of Esau's counsel. He knows that he's in control of everything. When you're in control of the food, the money, the armies, right? You can do whatever you want, right? All these things are a snare, right? The food, the right, the counsels, the propaganda, right? And he doesn't give a damn about his own people, right? They're collateral damage to the wicked elite, right? And we're considered to them we're less than nothing, right? Um, because they know they're Edomites. They know we're the tribes, right? Um, but in short, this is just talking about the nations that got rich off America Babylon the Great, and now have built their armies, their forces, right? Like China. China has a great army, a great force, but um, the bad part on their behalf is that they're not combat um, experienced, right? Obadiah chapter 1 and verse 6, right? And that's the benefit that Esau has. He's combat experience, right, to a higher extent than these other nations, right? When you're constantly upgrading your weapons, right, you're a step ahead of the game, right? And he had what is it, what a 500 some year start, right? That's the number one thing that Esau does is, right, always upgrading the military, always, you know, right? So he's a step ahead of the game in the sense of military technology, in the sense of councils, right? Because it doesn't say Revelation chapter 20, the one that ascended at the bottomless pit. It wasn't the Hamites. It wasn't the Ishmaelites. It was Esau, and he was the one that has been in charge since then, basically, right? And he still is, right? So that's what's going on. That's that great uh, um, like it says Romans chapter 9, I will raise up Pharaoh to show my power in him, right? Esau Edom is the modern day Pharaoh, right? So Obadiah 1 and 6, where thus are searched out, where thus is searched out Esau, uh, to uncover his hidden things, right? Ayaka, Na Chapashwa, Aisha, Nabaiwa, Ma Tazapanyawa, right? Because that word Chapash, it means to seek, to search, right? To search for, to seek, to be sought out, right? So who can search out Esau? That is us, because he has the original playbook, which is the scriptures. We are only expounding, bringing out what he already knows, basically. So he doesn't give a damn actually if 90%, let's say 90% of Jake goes out and starts preaching the word. He doesn't. That's how proud he is, because he's basically, his mindset is, you can't say anything that I don't already know, right? So that's how are these things of Esau searched out. It's via the word, right? And this hidden thing sought up, right? Because, and this is kind of twofold, because, right, you can search out his history on, right, what country he bombed, who he took into captivity, how many countries he overcame, right? So that's plain readily available, that information, right? His hidden things, right? You can only receive it via the scriptures, right? Which it's all going out, right? So if you're, whether you're Jake, whether you're a heathen, right? You run into one of the videos, right? Right? Some heathens may stumble upon the videos, right? And they'll be like, oh damn, you know. Which is why it says nabai wa matas upon yawa, because that word nabai or baya just means to bubble up, right? It's another way to say like to uncover, right? Obadiah 1 and 7. Shalakia. Obadiah 1 and 7. Even unto the border. Shalakia. Let's look at even unto the border, send out unto thee all the men of your confederacy or your covenant. Ad ha Gabal Shalachka Kal Anashia Baryathka. Right? Um, have deceived thee, which reads Ha Shaya'aka. Says they were able unto thee, the men that were at peace with thee. Yakal wa laka anashia shalamka. Right? Because that word yakal, it means to be able or willing. Right? So the nations were able to, submit to Esau's system in times past. But it's not like that no more. Now they're talking shit. Right? They're right. It's just it's gonna be like scripture say, right? It's not gonna get like, or actually, like Paul the Apostle said, let's get together not for the better but for the worse, right? Brace for the worse, right? Like one of our brothers in Great Mill Stone, they recently said that what scripture is scriptures, right, are for counsel, but the majority is to warn Jake of how bad the judgment of the Lord is gonna be, right? Like I recently brought out at camp that, right, Jake right now is flourishing and the other nations, right, they think this system is gonna last forever, right? But eventually, the scriptures say that your lovers would seek are gonna seek thee, take your life. Your covenant with death will be disannulled, right? Because eventually, famine's gonna hit, right? Many will take the charagma, right? Because you won't be able to buy or sell, right? And you're gonna have uh, all hell breaking loose, right? So we're not here, right? Like these lunatics, these like where I set up at camp. There's some Pentecostal loonies, right? And all they do is you know, just say Jesus, Jesus, and sound like they're like maybe having a fever. You know, that's not what the scriptures say. The scriptures say, right, with sound words, right, uh, to edify, right. Edify is to teach. It means to teach, right. But Jake loves that deceits, right. So it says to eat your bread, which it says lacham ka. Lacham means bread or food, right? So basically, right, the nations and right, they just they put up with Esau because of the benefits, but these benefits are right uh, being taken away slowly, right? Right. The scriptures say, I mean, the scriptures doesn't say that, but in the world it says, don't bite the hand that feeds you, right? You gotta, you know, Uh, sometimes you gotta you know simmer down, but the nations don't want to simmer down, right? Esau is just they're just preparing for you know like I recently said, right? You got particular video games, right? These are just training modules, right? You got Edomites pumping iron, right? Meanwhile, you got Jake eating a damn two piece, right? Making TikToks and smoking that GMO grass, right? And Jake is not doing nothing, right? He's not right being edified. You gotta right. There's nothing wrong with bettering yourself, but you gotta at the same time pick a damn book up and right get some understanding, right? So it says they have placed a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him, right? Which it reads Yashayamwa Mazar Takath Yaka Ayan Tab Bawana Bawa, right? That word for wound is Mazawar, right? Which it really it's the letters are interchanged. Is Amar means to prune. It's just prune. It's just another say. It's another way to say to wound, right? Let's get that word prune. To trim a tree, shrub, or bush by cutting away dead or overgrown branches or stems, especially to increase fruitfulness and growth. That's what Esau is doing. He's downsizing, right? And then overpricing, right? Creating more division, right? Via false flags. And he's not the one, right? And he's still the good old Edomite, right? For those that aren't in the know, right? Really, these other protests, all these things you see are right distractions. The nations, even the nations, are in on this thing, right? To distract you from knowing right what is going on, knowing your nationality, knowing what is coming, right? Uh, so it says they have laid a wound under thee. There was no understanding in him, right? Why? Because right, these Edomites they know they're at the end of no kingdom lasts forever. First of all, they know there's they know Yahweh Shai is coming. Those that are at the upper echelon, the rest are just rebelling. Everyone is rebelling basically. The nations are rebelling. These other Edomites are rebelling. The wicked elites they know something big is coming, right? Yahweh Shai, right? So these councils, right? They're constantly they're not working out. It's just showing who's the wicked. These councils, these false flag events. It's just showing, like I've said before, it's showing what's going on the left hand and on the right. All these things going on is just justifying what we say even more, day by day, as you see more of these prophecies fulfilled, right? And we told you, right? We can't say we didn't tell you, right? You can't say, right, that we didn't say so because we did. So basically, Esau is pulling out all the stops. It's not that he doesn't have understanding, because he has great understanding. Scripture says he's wiser than Daniel, but it's talking about he's pulling out all the stops because he's seeing, oh shit, you know, these guys are they figured it out, right? like our elders and apostles say, that one time they were prophesying, and some dudes pulled up in a limo. These what do they call them? Trust fund babies. They pulled up in the limo, and they went up to their camp, and he said, "How did you guys figure it out?" Right. So that's what Esau is doing now. Not only is he trying to put the blame a little bit on the other nations, on Jake, right? He's pulling out all the stops, right? Obadiah 1 and 8. Is it not in the day that is, saith the Lord? Hala Bayawam Ha Hawa Naam Yahweh, right? Basically saying, is it not going to be so in that day, right? Which is now. And I will cause to perish the wise men from Edom, the understanding from the mount of Esau, Waha Abad Thayah Chakamyam Ma Adawam Watha Bawana Mahar Aishah, which is going into the previous verse, right? He's pulling out all the stops, right? These the wicked elites, they're basically telling their counselors, their left hand priest, what else? What else? What other tricks we have left, right? And they're the Esau left hand priesthood, his wise men, have no choice but to say, look, the I consulted the left hand spirit, and it's telling me that you know these are those that these are the servants of the Lord, right? Because there's particular things that these left hand spirits can't lie about, right? They recognize the right the chosen, right? Esau recognizes the chosen, the hidden ones, like it says in Psalms 83, because they're good. Those are the main priority, right? Like the scriptures say, right? Not many mighty, not many wise, right? Not the wisdom of this world, right? So this is why Esau goes. He went after before he went after the servants of the Lord. He went after Jake that is vain, Jake that is all about right appearance, Jake that is all about himself, right? These are the most knowledgeable, the most mighty. He went after the mighty men basically, right? Because the wise are not those that make themselves known, right? If you're wise, right, you're not going to be boasting in your wisdom, right? Unless it's in a um unless you're in a setting to where you're edifying, right? But the Lord hid the remnant, right? Not these when it says Psalms 83, they've consulted against the hidden ones. It's not talking about 2/3. It's not talking about Jake that is about himself, Jake that is about this world, right? Because that's who he's already got him in his palms, right? And the scriptures say that the remnant are inscribed in the palm of the Lord's hand, right? When you look at your palm, you already have a pattern. That pattern is already right, uh, right through the spirit, right? Um, since Elder Rakai recently brought out that Apostle Ramlab was a carpenter, right? When you're a carpenter, you know how to construct forms, how to right, what kind of wood to use, how to look for to see if it's even, to look at the crown, meaning the circumference, right? to see if it's level, to see if it's plain, right? There's certain things in carpentry that you have to already, you know, you already have to have it programmed in you, right? How to do the chalk lines, how to, right? How to level, how to work with things that aren't leveled and then make it level, right? Things of that sort, right? So it says, so the wisdom vanished from Edom, understanding from the mount of Esau. Obadiah 1 and 9, and will be dismayed your warriors, O Teman, right? The Teman is talking about, right, these Germanic Edomite tribes, right, where Amalek comes out of, right? These small hats, right? The Ish, the right, and we're gonna leave it at that, right? The Ish people, right? Teman, right? That's the head, basically the head of Edom. Whether Edom agrees with that or not, right? Because they don't. Because Esau is proud as hell. He thinks every single Edomite basically they think they think they're the shit, right? But Teman is Teman goes way back, right? Because these are those that converted to the law, statutes, and commandments. These are those, right? The small hats, they fought with Jake side by side during the siege of Jerusalem. So you had some of them there. So they know, they go way back, right? They go way back, right? Not like these present day Edomites, right? They're how do you say it? Most of them, their recent memory is that they're Edomite is and it's not that they're Edomites, is that they're Babylonians, and all they just been indoctrinated with all this democracy, freedom, and guns, and you know all this what do you call it, Americana propaganda, right? Uh, that they don't remember, they don't have a former remembrance, right, of that, of being, right, like their forefathers, the mighty hunter, the right. Now a lot of them like things like hiking and all that, skydiving, right? Things that only Edomites would do. Jake's not gonna do all that, right? The scriptures say that Jacob was a plain man, dwelling in tents, right? Like Issachar, right? Uh, um, I believe that's Deuteronomy chapter 33. Uh, says, "Rejoice, Issachar, in your tents, and Zebulun in your going out." So there's particular tribes that like to be out, right, in the forefront. Issachar is more, right. Um, I mean, all tribes are family oriented, but it's right. Every tribe has a particular trait, right? There's some tribes that like to be out there, and in the on the spotlight, and right, going to the club scenes and all that, right? You go to the clubs, you might see some Iscarites, but it's mostly the other tribes, right? You have certain, right, other tribes that are like um they don't really mess with the other tribes. They're really just amongst their own, like Judah, like Benjamin, right, and so on and so forth, right? Um, Obadiah 1 and 9 So it says, and will be dismayed your warriors, O Teman, on account of they shall be cut off from the mount of Esau. Salakia. It says, on account of that they may be cut off a man from the mount of Esau, even from the least, right? Salakia, by, that's not slaughter, that this word, qatal, it means to slay or to massacre, as in, right, a violent, to violently kill, which is going to happen in the Third World War, right? And so on and so forth. When the chariots return, Yahweh Shai, the skies are covered with chariots, the holy angels, and right, it's going to be a sight to see, right? So you have particular small hats that have, right, that may be in part of Esau's particular parts of Esau's army, right? A Teman, you got to remember Teman. What is that movie? Salaki. Let me see if I can look at that movie. Oppenheimer, right? Because the dude that created these warheads was a German, right? These are the modern day Temanites, right? The modern day small hats, right? And that's how they're going to be cut off by, right, thermonuclear slaughter, right? Like I recently brought out at camp, right? The Lord said there's going to be a great shaking in the land of Israel, right? We didn't say that, right? It's not a threat, it's a promise, right? Obadiah 1 and 10, because of the violence of your brother Jacob, shall cover thee shame, right? Ma Hamas Aka Yaka Yaikwab Thakasa Ka Basha, and thou shalt be cut off forever. Wa Nakarath La Iwalam. Obadiah 1 and 11. And the day that you stood before or present, in the day which they took into captivity the aliens, his mighty men, right? Because you had particular Jakes, right, throughout time that were subjugated, were slaughtered, and then the remainder were taken into captivity, right? By Yawam Ahmad Ma Nagad, by Yawam Shabbath Zaryum Hayalwa, and the strangers entered into his gates, and upon Jerusalem they cast the lot. Wa Nakarium Ba'awa Shayarwa Wa'al Yerushalayim Yadwa, Yad meaning hand, but it also means to cast, right? To throw, to shoot, right? Garal is the lot, just means a pebble. Even thou was like one of them. Gam atha ka achar maham, and did not fear in the day of your brother, in the day that he was estranged, and to rejoice unto the sons of Judah, which reads Wa'al Thara'ah Bayawam Akayaka Bayawam Nakarwa Wa'al Thashamach Labanya Yahawada, In the day when they perished or destroyed by Yawam Abadma, and to magnify with your mouth in the day of trouble. Wa'al Thagadal Payaka Bayawam Tazara, or distress or straits. Obadiah 1 and 13. To enter into the gate of my people in the day of their calamity you did not fear, even you were amongst them. Al Thaba'a Bashayar Amya Bayawam Ayad Ma Al Thara'a Gamatha Ba Rayathwa, in the day of his calamity, right? Which is, you read about that, you can compare that to Revelation chapter 6. The pale horse represents calamity, right? The boiling point, right? You have, right, you heat up water, you warm it, it's cold, you warm it, and then it starts bubbling, and then you can't bubble it anymore, and it starts overflowing, starts spilling, right? That's the calamity, right? When things start spilling, right? Which says, Bayawam Ayadwa, and to send out upon his riches in the day of his calamity, right? Wa'al Tashalakna Bachayalwa Bayawam Ayadwa, and to stand upon the path, because that word parak, it just means it means chapter, division, or in this case, figuratively, a path, right? Or a crossway, like it says here, Wa'al Ta'imad al Haparak, to cut off unto those that escaped, and to shut out the survivors in the day of trouble. Laha Karyath Atha Paliyat Yawa Wa'al Thasagar Sharyad Yawa Bayawam Tazara. Because what did the Lord say concerning Esau Edom? Right, in the book of Deuteronomy, he said, don't meddle with the Edomites, don't meddle with Moab, don't go into their land. And Esau did the opposite. There's no account that says northern kingdom or southern kingdom went into the land of the Edomites and cut them all off by slaughter. This is what the nations always wanted to do. Esau always wanted to do, because they know that we're righteous people, right? But when the Lord is not with us, right? The Lord gave power over us, right? Even today, right? Because what did Jake do? He waxed worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. Sacrificed under every green tree, under every hill, right? Burn their children to Molech, causing them to pass through the fire, all kind of abominations, right? You constantly read about Jake going off, Old Testament, New Testament, the church of Corinth, the man that slept with his father's wife. That's in the Old Testament too. It says that right, every man goeth into his kin's wife, or something to that extent. Obadiah 1:15, because it is near the day of the Lord upon all the nations, according to which thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee, your reward shall return upon your head. Right? The heathens, right? Esau, Edom, even right 2/3, right? Because they got a demonic. They're how do you say it? They're enticed by their own uh, lust, right? Lust doesn't just have to be towards a woman. Lust can be in many ways, right? But the number one problem is Jake doesn't give a damn about nobody, right? Or as a collective, right? We don't give a damn as a collective, right? Because there's so much division, there's so much this and there's so many politics between the tribes. It's retarded, right? But that's mainly talking about Esau, right? Because he's the one who is in charge, and he's not doing what the right thing. He's doing the opposite. So as the scriptures, as a leader, so is his people, right? That's what the book of Sirach says. Obadiah 1:16, because according to which had drunken upon the mount of my holiness, they shall drink all the nations forever. Right, meaning they're always going to, in the kingdom of heaven, they're gonna be subjugated. They're still gonna go off, and they're gonna, be corrected, right, in the right way. It says all the nations, they will drink all nations continually, which it reads, Kaya ka ashar, Shatayatham, Alhar, Kwadashia, Yashathwa, Kal Hagwayim, Tamayad, Washathwa, and will drink and will swallow up, Washathwa wa laya, layawa, and will be like he hasn't been, and will come to pass he will be like he has not been. Or Salakia, they will be like they have not been. Meaning all the things you see right now, ham eating doodoo sandwiches, the East Indian worshiping rats, Buddha, all that. It's not going to be remembered, right? All these idols, all that's all. It's going to be like it, right? That's not going to basically that's not going to be allowed, right? Which reads Wa Hayawa Kala'a Hayawa. And in Mount Zion there will be a remnant, and will be holy, and will possess the house of Jacob unto their possessions. Wa Bahar Tazayawan Thahaya Paliata, Wa Haya Kodash, Wa Yarash Wa, Bayath, Yaikwab, Atha, Marash Yaham. And that's self explanatory, right? There's going to be servants, there's going to be handmaids, right? We're not going to actually have heathens kissing the feet like you see these other camps. They want boot kisses. That's not biblical. That's just talking about, when it says that in the book of Isaiah, it's just talking about they're going to be subjugated, right? Obadiah 1 and 18, and it will come to pass, the house of Jacob will be fire, and the house of Joseph, which is the house of Jacob, is talking about the northern kingdom, the house of Joseph is the southern kingdom, a flame, Wahaya Bayath Yaikwab Ash, Wabayath Yawasap, Lahaba, and the house of Esau for stubble, and will kindle upon them, and will consume them, and there will not be a survivor unto the house of Esau, because the Lord has spoken. It says, Wabayath Aisha Lakwash, Wadalak Wa Baham Wa Akal Ma Wala'a Yahaya Sharyad Labayath Aisha Kaya Yahawah Dabar. Basically, that's that famous verse, Obadiah 1 and 18, right? And same way you make a bonfire, right? And you cozy up, you have the yan, right? And you have peace offerings, and that's how it's going to be. It's going to be a new high holy day, right? We're going to call it the remembrance of Esau being put out. Obadiah 1 and 18, and they will possess the south onto, let's go to the blue letter, Slovakia. They will possess the south unto the mount of Esau, meaning they of the south, as in the southern dwelling tribes, and the lowland, which was unto the Philistines, and they will possess unto the field. They will possess it to the fields of Ephraim, meaning the former inheritance of these particular areas are going to be brought back to the tribes. And to the field of Samaria, and Benjamin will be unto Gilead, meaning will possess Gilead. Wayarashwa ha Nagab, Athahar Aishal, Waha Shapala Atha Palashtayim, Wayarashwa Atha Shada, Aparium, Wa Atha Shada, Shamaran, Wa Banyaman, Atha Ha Galad. So the scriptures say what they say, right? After 1,000 years, the nations are going to go into captivity. After 1,000 years, there's not going to be any more Edomites, right? They're going to be basically set on fire, right? And we're going to basically nip them in the bud. Obadiah 1 and 20, and the exiled force this of the sons of Israel, that which was unto Canaan, even unto Zarephath, and the captivity of Jerusalem, which was in Sepharad, will possess unto the cities of the south. Right? Basically, Northern Kingdom is going to get their place back. Southern Kingdom, they're going to get their lands back. Right? Wagalath Hachal Hazal Labanya Yasha'ala Ashar Kanainayim Ad Tazarpath Wagalath Yerushalayim Ashar Basabrad Yerashwa Atha Arya Hanagab, and will send up saviors upon the mount of Zion to judge unto the mount of Esau. It's talking about the remnant, right? Those that get delivered out of the destruction. Don't take the charagma, right? And are caught up into the heavens, right? For the Lord rains fire and brimstone, right? Upon the bloody city, right? So it says Wa'alwa Mawashayim Bahar Tazayawan La Shapat Athahar Aisha Wahayatha La Yahawah Ha and will be on the kingdom unto the Lord. Right? So those are the saviors, right? Because the Lord is going to magnify his remnant in that day. Right? So that's pretty much it. It's, Obadiah chapter 1, which is the only chapter. Going into the Hebrew, Lord willing, you're edified. It's Brother Yatazadak, hero of Israel. And as always, giving all honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles, great millstone. Kwame Sha'ala, Abad Ball, Shalom.